Set 20,000 years ago, during the Upper Paleolithic period in prehistoric Europe, Alpha tells the timeless story of survival, companionship, and the birth of the bond between humans and dogs. The film centers on Kida, a young boy on the brink of manhood, who embarks on a journey that will change both his life and the course of human history. The story begins in a tribal village, located in a rugged, cold expanse that mirrors the harsh reality of Ice Age Europe. Life here is raw, brutal, and beautiful in its own way. Survival is not just a goal. It's a constant struggle against the elements, predators, and the scarcity of resources. Within this community lives Kida, the only son of Tao, the tribe's revered chief. Tao is not just a leader in name. He exemplifies the values of courage, decisiveness, and strength that have kept their tribe alive for generations. His expectations for Kida are high, but not unkind. He recognizes a different strength in his son, a thoughtful, empathetic disposition that sets him apart from the other boys. Kida, although physically prepared for the upcoming hunt, struggles with the emotional weight of what it means to kill. This internal conflict is not lost on Tao, who worries about his son's readiness for the challenges ahead. However, this journey is not optional. It is a rite of passage that all young men must face. So, with resolve and quiet trepidation, Kida joins his father and the other tribal hunters on an expedition that promises danger, but also the chance to prove oneself. The journey to the hunting grounds is long and arduous. The men travel across jagged ridges, through forests cloaked in mist, and over barren tundra. At night, the tribe sits around roaring fires, exchanging stories and reinforcing the bonds that tie them together. Kida listens more than he speaks, absorbing not just the strategies for hunting, but the deeper lessons of leadership and resilience passed down through these tales. Finally, the group locates a massive herd of steppe bison grazing near the edge of a cliff. This is the moment of truth. The tribe forms a tactical formation to drive the beasts toward the cliff's edge, relying on coordinated shouts, fire, and movement. Chaos erupts as the bison stampede. Amid the confusion, Kida hesitates. He aims his spear, but cannot bring himself to throw it. That hesitation proves costly. A bison veers from the path and charges at Kida, striking him violently. He is hurled over the cliff. While tribe is trying to help Kida, Kida is slipped and fall in front of them. The tribe scrambles to look over the edge, but they see no sign of life. The rocks below are treacherous, and the assumption is grim. Kida did not survive the fall. In keeping with their traditions, they mourn by stacking a cairn of stones in his memory. Tao is devastated, but masks his sorrow with stoic resolve. The tribe departs, leaving behind what they believe is only the memory of a boy who couldn't withstand the harshness of their world. But Kida is alive. Miraculously, he regains consciousness on a narrow ledge, broken and bruised, but breathing. His dislocated ankle and numerous gashes make movement nearly impossible, but he refuses to give up. Inch by inch, using branches, roots, and sheer determination, he climbs back to the surface. What follows is an extended sequence of physical and psychological survival. Kida finds a cave and crawls inside, tending to his wounds with primitive tools and immense pain tolerance. He crafts a crude splint and learns to use a walking stick, dragging himself through the days and nights as he gathers food from insects, berries, and small roots. The film is largely wordless during these sequences, relying on visual storytelling. The landscape becomes a character, one that is both a threat and a source of beauty. The cinematography captures Kida's isolation, his fear, and the slow transformation from helplessness to self-reliance. One day, while limping through the forest, Kida is ambushed by a pack of wolves. In the scramble, he wounds one of them, a grey she-wolf who also gets separated from the pack. Something in Kida changes in this moment. He sees in the wolf a reflection of his own situation. Lost, injured, afraid. He cannot bring himself to kill her. Instead, he treats her wound and carries her back to his cave. This marks the beginning of one of the most tender and powerful arcs in the film. Kida and the wolf, whom he later names Alpha, are both wary of one another. Alpha snarls and bares her teeth. Kida speaks softly, avoids sudden movements, and places food at a distance. Slowly, trust begins to form. Days pass. Alpha eats from his hand. She stops, growling. Kida begins talking to her, not expecting a reply, but as a means of keeping himself sane. In turn, Alpha follows him at a distance, eventually walking beside him. Winter approaches, the temperature drops, and the nights grow longer. Kida knows he must return to the village before it's too late. With Alpha at his side, he begins the long trek home. The journey is fraught with peril. Their bond is tested when Alpha hears her former pack howling in the distance. She looks at Kida, then Alpha chooses to go with her old pack. The climax of the journey comes as they cross a frozen lake. Kida sees Alpha's wolf pack. He runs to them, but the ice shatters beneath Kida, and he plunges into the frigid water. Alpha barks, paces, and ultimately manages to pull him out. To avoid freezing from the cold, Kida immediately lit a fire. Alpha lies beside him to keep him warm. They fend off attacks from saber-toothed cats. They both run to a cave, but one saber-tooth is able to get in the cave and attack them. Alpha and Saber-tooth attacks each other. In the meantime, Kida drew the bow, took aim, and released it. Saber-tooth died, and Kida saved Alpha. But Alpha is severely wounded. She limps badly and collapses. Kida lifts Alpha onto his back and carries her. When they finally reach the village, Kida collapses from exhaustion. The sight stuns the tribe. Tao rushes to his son's side, overcome with emotion. Kida has not only survived, but returned transformed. Alpha, barely conscious, is met with skepticism. But as she slowly recovers under Kida's care, the tribe begins to accept her. The film ends with a final revelation. Alpha gives birth to a litter of puppies. This is no ordinary return. It marks the genesis of something profound, the bond between human and dog. In one of the final scenes, the camera pans across the village, showing the children playing with the wolf pups. Kida and Alpha sit nearby, watching, no longer just survivors, but pioneers of a new relationship that will reshape human history. Alpha is more than a survival story. It is a mythic retelling of how trust and empathy between species may have first taken root. Through its haunting visuals, minimal dialogue, and emotional depth, the film becomes a meditation on connection in all its forms. It asks what it means to be human, to lead, to nurture, and to love something beyond oneself. The silence in the film is not empty. It is filled with meaning, with looks exchanged between species, with the sound of breath on cold mornings, with the weight of survival and the lightness of companionship. In the end, Alpha is not just about how dogs became part of our lives. It's about how we became more human by letting another species into our hearts. Thanks for watching the video. Subscribe the channel and like the video for more.